I'm Sabir. I've been in the church for 12 years. I've been involved in youth ministry, youth leadership. I was a youth leader for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Now I transition into being an assistant pastor in training.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
So there was something that used to happen when we were we were kind of fresh in church.
Yeah.
There was like a phase where everybody's like, oh, my divine husband, my future husband. I know God showed me. I had dreams about people, and I think all of us went through that phase.
Yeah.
And I think some people probably got carried away with it, but I wanted to know how you were like within that. Did you also had that where you're like, yeah, I can't wait to get married,
Yeah, that's actually, it affected a lot of us. And I'm going to be transparent with you.
Yeah, you can be honest. Yeah.
It affected me too personally.
Right.
Because when you come to the Lord at a really young age and you're excited, you are zealous, you have the zeal for God.
Yeah.
Things happen. You begin to hear things.
Yeah.
And in the spiritual realm, you begin to see things.
Right.
And then automatically, because all you're doing is focusing God, God, God.
Yeah.
Whatever you see and hear, automatically you're going to take it's God.
Yeah, that's right.
So I struggle with that. I'm pretty sure a lot of individuals struggle with that, where we begin to have dreams, we begin to have visions, and we confess and profess that it's from God. I had a dream about this girl. God said, it's my wife.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. I believe I had that happen to me once, where I professed
right.
it was God speaking to me when it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And then vice versa, it happened to me where 3-4 times another young lady who was serious with the Lord would receive something saying that I'm their husband.
Did that happen to you because you were thinking about the person, or was it you were already attracted to them? Is that why you reckon it happened?
Usually there's multiple different ways why such thing will happen.
Yeah.
But like you just mentioned, is the fact that this person was constantly in my presence.
Right.
You know, the fact, because the way the human mind works, we have different types of the human minds, and one part of the human mind, it captures memories.
Yeah.
And usually that memories play back and forth when it's allowed to.
Yeah.
So let's say if I'm sitting here with you, we're having this conversation, and then later on I'll be thinking about how we are spending time together, and then eventually I'm going to start to be thinking about it and dreaming about it.
Yeah.
And then I'd come up to you and be like, hey, I had a dream about you. But it was self-creation.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it could be also what you start to do is you start to think about the qualities of the person, and you're like, oh, I like this person's quality. I like what they do here. Oh, they can do this. Me and this person can work together in ministry. Yeah. So that could be another way of how it's created. Especially ministers yourself. Yeah. You guys go through this more than any other person, I would say. People, you're up there, you're preaching, you come across as this gentleman, you're well dressed, you seem well, you carry yourself really well.
That's right. Yeah.
And when women see that, they're like, oh, that guy, it's he has charisma.
Yeah.
And I'm attracted to that. And then they start to dream about you and create.
Exactly.
I think it happened to everybody. It happened to me as well. Yeah. But do you think God can still speak and tell you that this person is your spouse?
At the beginning,
right?
You see, I had to do a lot of study.
Yeah.
Firstly within myself, and then within what the word says.
Right.
And I've come to develop an understanding that with people, different type of people have different type of experience.
Right.
I can sit here, talk to you and confess, and I believe that I don't believe in that. Yeah. There's no such thing as God speaks, and I can give you biblical reference and evidence on that. But then again, there are cases where we hear stories of such things happen, and it to be true. Yeah,
it happens, yeah.
So basically with that, everyone's different based on their experience and based on how they develop themselves. They would all answer that different.
Yeah.
So at first I was a big believer in that.
Okay.
So now I have come to accept the fact that it is possible. Okay. There's a possibility that God does speak to a person and says, this is your spouse.
Yeah. Okay.
But generally for me personally, in terms of my selection process, I did not go about selecting my spouse based on God said this.
Okay. So how did you do it?
For me, the way I did it is I came to a point in my life where God began to indicate and show me that I am ready
Right.
I am ready to accommodate someone. And since I became ready to accommodate a spouse in my life, that's when I begin to develop what's the meaning of love? What is love? How is love understood? How is love developed?
Yeah.
And then I came to a conclusion that no matter what happens, love is a decision.
Oh, wow.
So there would be different type of girls, different types of candidates.
Yeah.
I made that choice.
You made that choice.
You
Yeah.
know, because the problem with, I came to understand the problem with, you know, if I believe that God did this, and something was to happen in the future, I'm going to blame him.
That's right.
God, you spoke to me and you
Yeah.
said, this is your spouse.
Yeah.
We're going through divorce. What's going on?
Yeah, wow.
You know, so I'm a big believer that love is a choice. You choose to love someone
Yeah.
through whatever.
Wow.
So I decided to love my spouse, and
Yeah.
every single day I will decide to love her no matter what. So that's
So in
how I
that process,
developed.
like, how did you deal with social pressure? Like in the process of you wanting to make the choice for yourself, but at the same time, there was a social pressure of like, maybe I remember there was a time where like the guys, like your group, you guys were starting to go for like caramel skin girls, and you know, like, like it was kind of like a very daunting moment. But then I think it was part of growth as well.
Yeah.
And people were still discovering like, do I really, you know? So how did you deal with that kind of social pressure?
Yeah, at first it was really tough.
Yeah.
Because at that stage, what we were going through as young men and what we struggled with is basically we were going after what was appealing to the eye, but not what was capable to accommodate our emotions, our character, what was right to be in our presence in terms of who we were.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we just see, oh, this person's beautiful. This person's got a certain type of skin
Elements,
color
yeah.
light that I like, you know?
Yeah.
But then we didn't really know them in terms of how their personality,
Yeah.
how is their character, how could they accommodate and really help and be there with us in terms of where we're going.
Yeah.
Because the type of people we are, we require a woman that is capable to have strong intelligence in terms of emotions and in terms of how they carry themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So with that case, it's really scary if you're just going to go based on what we think look good to the eye, but not what was good to the heart and the mind.
And you also need someone that you can build life with.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow, that's really good. So like within that, I remember, you know, like a lot of your friends were starting to get married, and you were there was still no one else in your life, like, and that was probably the moment of waiting. Yeah. So within that, like in the waiting moment, like how was it for you? Did you somehow felt a bit, you know, like, oh God, like when's my turn? Why is this taking so long, kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. At that time, it was very stressful.
Yeah.
Very emotionally draining for me.
Yeah.
Because I felt like all my friends were moving on and achieving in life the things they wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, get married, start a family, buy a house.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being left behind. So in that case, that was socially draining for me. It was a big social dilemma for me, especially where I come from, because if you looked at those guys who got married, they were really younger than me. You know, that pressured me socially and even in terms of my family. Because my family knew these guys and I grew up with these guys, as I mentioned, 2012. And so now my mom would be like, son, what's going on? Your friend who's 3 years younger than you just get married, you know, I want grandchildren. I want you to have a wife. What's going on? So it was a bit of a tough break for me.
At what age did you want to like get married?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I really wanted to get married by the age of 26, 27.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
All right.
But I did not get married until like I was 28, 29.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, I guess maybe now if you look at it now, do you feel like, okay, maybe that was worth it because now you're more mature and like you feel like you're more ready now than if you were to get married at 25? You probably take your wife to your mom's house or something.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Now as I look back into it and begin to see how God was working in my life and why he was doing certain things and why certain things did not work out for me, I came to understand why he did it, why it took such time. Like you said, develop maturely, develop emotionally. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's so true. So now you are married. Yeah. How was that? Like, how did you find her? You know, I know that you don't believe so much of God giving us a spouse, but I'm pretty sure you believe so much of Him directing us towards the right people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what had happened was that I was in a relationship. That was my first ever relationship.
Yeah.
And things did not go well.
Yeah.
You know, I was really heartbroken. It took a while. But God knew my heart.
Yeah.
Because I was in the Lord and I developed a strong relationship with Him. He understood the kind of person I was.
Yeah.
I was a very serious person. You know, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do in terms of life,
Yeah.
in terms of where I wanted to be personally for myself and also in my walk with the Lord. So I begin to search, soul searching within myself.
Yeah.
You know, begin to see what exactly am I doing in my life? Where am I going? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Where am I going to be in a certain time? You know, and it started off slow, but then eventually, you know, I begin to get assistance from the Lord.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
I believe that the Lord does speak.
Yeah.
And He began to speak to me. Because the funny thing with God is that we can set a time. We can set a time to do something, but it's always His time that's perfect.
That's right. That's
But
right.
then the weird thing about that, God Himself does not live according to time. He doesn't operate according to
No,
the standards
yeah.
of the human 24-hour kind of time. The way He
Yeah.
operates, basically, when we say waiting for God, it's not actually waiting for God, but it's actually God waiting for us.
Right, right.
It's
to be
basically
ready.
on you.
Yeah.
The right timing of God is when the right timing when God decides that this person's
Yeah.
ready for such thing.
Yeah.
You know, for example, if you look at the story of Adam, you see, the Bible says that God created Adam
Yeah.
and He gave him so many things to do.
Right.
Take over the dominion of the world, name the animals and stuff like that. But when God began to see what Adam was doing, there was a certain time in Adam's life
Yeah.
that God decided it is not right for this man to be alone, that
Yeah.
I should create a helper.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
Adam wasn't
Yeah.
just chilling
Yeah.
and doing nothing.
Yeah, he had
Adam
work
was
to do.
about his business, about God's business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And from that moment, you know, God saw that this was the perfect time, that he
Yeah.
needed a suitable helper.
Wow.
Yeah.
So God had to make sure he was ready. Like he had, like all these responsibilities, he's fulfilling them. But at the same time, he was bringing someone not just to come and chill with Adam, but someone who can come and help him or to like work with him in like fulfilling the purpose of God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see?
Okay. Yeah.
I agree with that because that's how everyone should be thinking when you're choosing a spouse, someone
Yeah.
you're spending your life with.
Yeah.
You're not just there to chill.
Yeah.
Because life itself is not a joke.
Right. Right.
Life should be taken serious. Life should be taken precise, concise, and very seriously.
Yeah.
And who you bring, whether positive or negative, it has a factor.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely, absolutely. Because it can, if you're like with the right person, like everything will flow, and
Yeah.
and the will of God will just be fulfilled easily in your life. But if you have someone who doesn't support your vision, it will be really hard. Like for example, I've seen pastors that get married and they have spouses that don't support their ministry.
It's a dangerous game.
Oh, very.
Spouse selection.
Yeah. So yeah, how did you find yours?
So it was someone that I've known for many years.
Okay. Yeah.
Never approached them. They've never approached me. Maybe due to some environmental kind of thing.
Yeah.
They came close to my distance.
Yeah.
But in terms of my physicality or my mental state, I never became close to them. But it wasn't until years later down the track
Yeah.
when I was beginning to work on myself and God was positioning me to accommodate a spouse upon my life.
Yeah.
That's when I began to what I'd like to call hearing the voice of
Hearing
God.
the voice of God. Yeah.
You know, I begin to hear that, you know, you're going to make a decision. I'm going to bring people in your life
Yeah.
that you're going to make a decision.
Yeah.
And I heard all these in voices, you know, and I got confirmation from other people,
Yeah.
you know, and they begin to show me and tell me that when I make this decision, it will be very quick.
Wow,
The
yeah.
way I know that this is a right decision that I'm making
Yeah.
is that things will happen quick.
Right.
We
Yeah.
will find each other, and then within less than 2 years, you know,
everything will just fall into
everything will
place.
fall into place.
Oh, that's
financially, everything.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what took place.
Yeah. So the whole time she was there, like she was already within the circle.
Yes.
And like probably you were looking somewhere else and you were thinking she's like, you know, somewhere else, but the whole time she was there. So how did you propose? I want to know the story. Like,
how did I propose?
Yeah.
Proposal story. Well, I spoke to her cousin. I told her, I want to, you know, propose to your cousin.
Yeah.
So me and her went to ring shopping with the cousin.
Yeah.
We selected exactly what we knew she liked.
Oh, nice.
So I booked like a pretty nice, fancy golf function restaurant down in Toowoomba, where I got them to involve their family, like their cousins, their parents, and also my parents. Strictly some numbers, you know. I think it was like 30 from my side, 30 from thingy. I did everything, the decoration, got them to do it.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
And then I got her to call her and be like, let's go for lunch.
Yeah.
And then, when they went there to the lunch, well, she thought she was going to the lunch.
Yeah.
So she ended up coming to this beautiful setting. Everything was just splendidly well. And then I was on my knees in front of the whole family.
Wow.
With beautiful signs and stuff like that. She was in tears immediately. Oh. She did not expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So
was it a random day or was it her birthday?
It was a random day.
Okay.
I mean, if it was her birthday, I think she would
know,
Yeah.
That's so true. Oh, that's so nice. But like with our culture, you know how you're not meant to do engagements or proposals, like put a ring on the girl's hand until you go to the family.
Yeah.
Did that kind of backfire on you later on involving her family?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really, because I gave them a forehand warning, you know, that is what I'm planning to do.
Yeah.
And they came back to me with a
and
confession that
blessing.
Go out.
Yeah, okay. That's a good one. Because some people have done it, they put a ring on and then they go to the family and then be like, I want to marry your daughter, when they already asked the daughter to. And some, like, you know, our uncles, they always take offense to things like that. I guess the after the proposal was like the traditional like marriage and stuff like that. How was that for you?
At the beginning it was quite tough.
Yeah.
Because those who know me personally, I'm not really involved traditionally in the life of like my culture and tradition.
Yeah.
So I was always trying to learn, trying to understand, trying to get involved, but I wasn't putting a lot of effort. So I'm not doing quite well with my own culture.
Yeah.
So can you imagine me trying to pick up another culture,
person,
another different culture?
Yeah.
So I tried my best to, you know, develop and have form of understanding and knowledge about culture. Because when you're getting married to someone, what I realize is not just about them, but there are people behind them also that are gonna get involved.
Yeah,
and you need to show heaps of respect and heaps of understanding on who they are and why they do what they do and stuff like that. So at the beginning for me it was difficult, but eventually and gradually I got there.
Okay.
Yeah.